Welcome to Chronic Boss Unfiltered. I'm your host, Lilly Stairs, and today I am so excited that we have Ali DiGiacomo joining us. You may know her as Another Day with RA on Instagram and TikTok. Ali is a patient advocate and entrepreneur that I've had the honor of working with for many years now. Ali wears all the hats. She is a personal trainer. She's a creator. She's a writer. She's an advocate. She's a nomad now and beyond. I'm a huge fan of Ali because she has such candor. She's unfiltered and she always shows up 100% herself. And I deeply admire that authenticity. So Ali, welcome to the show.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. What an intro. My cheeks hurt from smiling. Thank you so much.
Well, I meant every word. It's all so true. You are fabulous. And I am honored that you are here with us on season 1 of the Chronic Boss Unfiltered podcast.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here and I'm so excited for you. Congratulations for having a podcast now. Like that's a huge thing.
Thank you. We're excited. We held off on it for a little bit of time because I said, oh, everybody has a podcast. But you know what? We have our own voice, our own unique voice, and we've got a lot to say and a lot of amazing people like you to interview. So let's get to it. I'd love to have you just introduce yourself briefly for our guests so that they can get a flavor for who you are and what you do.
Yeah. So as you said, my name is Ali and I do have a chronic illness. I have rheumatoid arthritis. I was diagnosed with JRA at the age of 15. It's now known as JIA, so juvenile idiopathic arthritis. Back then it was juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, but I got diagnosed at the age of 15. I'm 32 now. So I am like the arthritis auntie. I have been chronically ill for half my life, more than half my life now. And so I bring awareness online about having a chronic illness as a young adult and as a teen as well, because when I got diagnosed, I didn't know anybody with a chronic illness, okay, let alone RA. I didn't know anybody who was chronically ill. So I decided to bring awareness online to just connect with somebody who understood. And ever since then, back in 2018, when I made my first Instagram regarding RA, I have met thousands of people with chronic illnesses now. So I love our community. That's how you and I met. So I love our community so much. So that's a little bit about me. And yes, I am a nomad now, but I love to travel. I grew up in Saudi Arabia and I'm just constantly on the road and I am officially a nomad. So I'm very excited, but that's a little bit about me.
So we have so many topics to cover. As we were going through it before, there's so much to touch on because you live so vibrantly. There's a lot happening. So, all right, I want to jump in because you were diagnosed, like you said, at a young age, you were diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And something that's interesting to me about your story is that you were and are an athlete. And it sounds like, at that time, that's a huge part of your identity. So how did being diagnosed at that age and being this competitive athlete impact your identity?
It was rough. So I was a swimmer at the time. And I went to the Junior Olympics twice for swimming. And at the time I got diagnosed, I was in high school and I was trying to go to university for swimming, at least like a D3. Okay. Like I'm sure I wasn't going to make it a career, but it was a big part of my life. Growing up, swimming was more important than school. Like it was huge. I was just an athlete. I really didn't know anything else. So when I got diagnosed at the age of 15, I was actually swimming when I couldn't stay above water. Okay. So like I went to the Junior Olympics twice and then I couldn't stay above water. And I was like, what the heck is going on? We thought it was an injury. And I get out of the water. My knee is 3 times its size. And of course we all think injury, but it's very difficult to get injured during swimming unless you like hit a wall. Like there's really no way to get injured. It's not a contact sport. So after getting diagnosed, I was in denial. I pretended like I did not have a chronic illness. Also, I was so young. When you're like 15, you don't think much of it. I had surgery. I had my knee drained a couple of times, but I didn't have to go on medication. So I kind of just pretended like it never happened. I didn't tell a single person in high school. And I was at boarding school at the time. So when I went back to boarding school, because I had my surgery done at home in Saudi Arabia, when I went back, I didn't tell anybody. But my swimming career went downhill. So the season after I had my surgery, my times went down. So if you're a swimmer, you have your times. My times went up, actually not down. They went up. And I noticed a difference. My coach noticed a difference, but I didn't tell anybody. And it was rough. It was really difficult to navigate, especially because I was doing it all by myself and I was keeping it in and I was pretending like, oh, I just had an injury and that's what happened. So it was really difficult to navigate this new life and to change my course. So I wasn't going to go to university for swimming anymore, even if it was D3, even if it was not a big deal. I decided I have to change like careers basically. Like I have to figure out what my next steps are. And that's why I bring so much awareness online because it was difficult to do it silently, to not tell anybody what I was going through. And I realized that's very toxic, but I did, pretending like everything was okay, even though I was suffering because it was so depressing to not be the swimmer I used to be. So yeah, it was really difficult. And I highly encourage teenagers who are getting diagnosed, or highly encourage their parents who are probably going to listen to this podcast to talk to them and make sure they don't keep it in because it was really hard to do alone.
Yeah, I can't imagine. It is. That's a total, to be such a big part of your life. And then to have to totally pivot. And that's something we talk about a lot at Chronic Boss is how we become masters of pivoting because
Mhm.
with chronic conditions. So you sounds like you maybe took a little bit of a break from fitness, but then came back to it. Is that right?
It is. Yeah. When I left boarding school, I gave up fitness completely. Like when I went to university, I did not work out. I didn't try to do a sport. I just completely gave up. And I was very sedentary. I didn't move much because I didn't think I could. And I also was so let down from my chronic illness that I didn't even want to try. But yes, it took many years, but I decided to, because I saw somebody online working out, same medication as me. And I was like, if they can do it, maybe I can do it. And maybe I should try. And I know it's going to be hard, but I decided to hit the gym. I stayed consistent and then I became a trainer.
That's remarkable on so many levels. And to think that the power of this is the power of social media. I think that we talk a lot about the detriment of it, which is certainly there. But then to be able to have the access to share these stories and to look that person who you saw online totally changed really the trajectory of where you are now, right? You went from not
Absolutely.
working out at all to becoming a personal trainer.
Yeah, no, her name is Lindsay. I love her. We're like besties now. But yeah, no, when it's crazy the power of social media. Like social media really has changed my career in so many ways, many times. And it's why I'm a nomad now. Like it's social media is it's great. And then there's some bad things, of course. But yeah, it's crazy how I went from being afraid of fitness to now being a trainer and making it my whole career. So yeah, it's really great.
Amazing. And I want to talk about that because you have an app. You have your own fitness app. I love how entrepreneurial you are. Again, you wear all the hats. One of the core offerings you have is this fitness app. And as I was scrolling through it, I was dying because you have the best names. Fuck it, let's slay. Chair
Yep.
slay.
Cheers, like.
Yeah, chair slay. Just iconic. So tell me about this. What inspired you to go the direction of launching your own fitness app, and how does it specifically cater to people living with chronic conditions?
Absolutely. So when I became a personal trainer, when you work in a gym, you have to try out the classes when you go to the gym. So I worked in a gym, like in person. And in order to apply, you go and you try the classes. So a bunch of gyms that I tried, I did the classes and none of them offered modifications. And like I'm basically fit, and I look fit like you couldn't tell I have a chronic illness because, a lot of us have invisible illnesses. So I was struggling when I was at these gyms and I was like, I want to work for a gym that doesn't offer modifications or that people need something else. Like this is crazy. And so I decided after I left the gym, so I worked at the gym for 2 years and I found a gym that was really great. Loved them. They were in Atlanta. But after I left the gym, I was like, you know what's missing? Like, we need something for people with chronic illness because I did things like Beachbody and, they had some modifications. They always had a modifier, but I was like, I want a platform that is all for modifications, like to offer chair slay, like to a chair workout. I never saw that before, like doing a chair workout. I mean, maybe on YouTube, but so I was like, I want to create an app. So I found a platform, I got an app, and I made some programs that are for everybody that you can progress. So anybody could do it, but anybody with a chronic illness could do it too. So like there's Chair Slay where I'm doing fitness from a chair. You don't have to get up. I did a bed workout the other day on my program, Fuck It, Let's Slay, which is basically Fuck It, Let's Slay. And I know it's a really silly title, but it's
No, it's
basically
amazing. It's like it makes me want to work out.
yeah, yeah. Because it's basically like, fuck it. You can do it anywhere. You can do it anywhere. You can do it no matter what type of limitation you have. We're going to work out together, and it's a follow along workout. So it's a video and it's me and you working out together. And I show all the modifications you can do or all the progressions you can do. And the reason I created Fuck It, Let's Slay is because a year ago, my pain got so bad that I was going to actually quit being a personal trainer. And I was like, you know what? Instead of quitting, maybe I should just practice what I preach, right? Like moving your body in a fun, safe way, regardless of limitations. So these are my limitations. My pain are my limitations. So instead of quitting being a trainer, I can create Fuck It, Let's Slay, and we're going to move no matter what. Like, say I can barely move. Like, I did a workout from bed the other day and I filmed it. Like, we don't have to get out of bed. We can just do this workout together from bed, but at least we're moving. So that's why I called it Fuck It, Let's Slay, because screw it. I don't care where we are. I don't care if the lighting is bad. I don't like, I'm just going to film it and we're going to do it together.
That is so awesome. And it's something that you are able to bring this authenticity because you're going through it, you're experiencing it yourself, and you've come up with something that is supporting literally millions of people. This is an app that millions of people could use, right? Because there's millions of us living with chronic conditions. So
Yeah.
I just love that you put this together. What has the feedback been from some of the folks who are part of the program and on the app? It must be so rewarding to hear what they share.
It's so amazing. I get testimonials on there all the time. You can even go to my website, anotherdaywithra.com, and I put all the testimonials in there. It brings me so much joy when they're like, oh my God, thank you for like a chair workout. Thank you for a bed workout. Thank you. Like, I haven't worked out in years and I'm doing this with you. And I'm like, oh, like it just, honestly, like even if I just got one testimonial, I'll smile. Like it's so worth it. Just like to do all of this work to make the app, just to have one person do a workout with me was so rewarding. So yeah, I love all of the feedback. And please, if you use my app, you can do a free trial for a week. Please comment because it brings me the utmost joy. Like I love it so much.
I love it. I love it. We all have to we should do a Chronic Boss Fuck It, Let's Slay workout together.
Yes. Fuck It, Let's Slay Chronic Boss Edition.
I love it. We got to make it happen. I love it. So this is something else when we talk about your community that you've curated. You have this community on your app, but you also have this big, beautiful community that you've built under Another Day with RA. I mean, how many followers do you have now?
On Instagram, 23,000, and on TikTok, 140,000, which is crazy. I mean, like, goodness.
That's big. Like, you are a powerful influencer.
Oh, thank you.
Seriously. And it is this close, tight-knit community. And this is something that for many of our members in Chronic Boss, many of our followers on Chronic Boss, we know we have a lot of women who are trying to build their business, trying to build their brand. They may even be a creator. And of course, a central part of that is building your audience on social media. And so I want to pick your big, beautiful brain to learn how it is that you did this. Like, what do you think? What kind of content are you developing that's really resonating? How have you built this community? What are your tips?
Yeah, number one biggest tip when starting social media or creating your community is, and I know you're going to hear this everywhere, but really being yourself, like being so authentically you, because people will know when you're trying to be somebody else or when you're copying some other influencer or when you're like doing a trend. People can tell when you're not being yourself. And you'll notice that like when you try to be someone else or you see something and you post it, you're not going to get the engagement where if you just be yourself. And so growing my audience, well, at first when I started like TikTok and this Instagram account, I didn't think I was going to, grow it. I thought it was going to be like 1,000 of us, like 1,000 followers where people have chronic illness and we can relate. And then it just took off. Like I love that. But basically just post what I'm going through. And I try to make it funny because I love to make people laugh. Like, even like dark comedy is the key to my heart. Like I love dark comedy. And so I try to make people laugh, but then I'm also authentically myself. Like I try to be silly, and that is really how I cope with the pain. Like whenever I make a reel, I'm doing okay. I'm in remission right now, like a medicated remission. But when I was in a lot of pain, I would just make a reel and it would be like therapy for myself and then therapy for the viewers. So it was like a win-win situation. Like I love making people laugh. And so, but just being myself and not sugarcoating anything. Like I'm not a fan of like posting highlights, and I know it feels cringy to post when you're at your low. but I have to just be real with everybody. And I think that's what people like, is that like they see the good, the bad, and the ugly. Like I post when it gets real ugly. Like I am an open book. My God, like you'll hear when we talk on the podcast, like I will tell you anything, to the point where my boyfriend is like, Ali, you really just share with the world. I cannot keep anything in. I'm terrible at holding secrets. I tell you guys everything. So yeah, so I think it's just being authentically yourself. I've seen people try to pretend to be others and it doesn't work. People can tell. And so yeah, I think that is the key. And when you start to make content, just finding I know this is also like basic, but like finding your niche, like if you're going to bring awareness to chronic illness, you know, I love doing this new series where I put on makeup and I like educate people. Well, not educate. I don't like saying that, like educate people, but educate people that may not understand what we're going through. And so maybe my spoonies can like send it to their friends and family who don't understand. And so like
Mhm.
I realized I like doing that. And I feel like a lot of us who are trying to make content get nervous about what we're going to post. Like people aren't going to like it. Like I'm a fresh new nomad and I'm about to post a lot of nomad content, but I feel like in the back of my brain, I'm like, nobody's going to care. Like nobody likes that, but post anyway. Like who cares? And also to just post consistently. And if you think you need to make it look beautiful and, you need to have the perfect thing to say, it's kind of like my fuck it, let's slay. Like, no, I make my reels when I'm putting on my makeup. I'm going to put my makeup on anyway. I might as well film myself and just chat with you guys, So like,
Yeah.
don't be afraid to just post it. And if it doesn't do well, fuck it, fuck it, let's slay. Post it anyway. Like, just who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. It's not going to happen overnight. For me, I started my account in 2018. Like it's been a long time. So just keep going with it.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I feel like "Fuck it, let's slay" should be your tagline for
Yeah.
everything, not even just on the fitness app. It's kind
Fuck
of
it, let
perfect.
fly. Fuck it, just
I love
post.
it. It's perfect. Fuck it, just post.
Just
And
post.
that's something I actually have to tell myself a lot too, because I have to really amp myself up to post. It's social media has never been my thing, and I'm trying to work on it because there is there is a power, like we talked about at the beginning, right? There is a power in social media, and we can really influence for good. That's
Mhm.
something that my business coach has reminded me that if you feel like cringy, like, oh, I don't want to be like people to think I'm trying to be an influencer. It's no,
Mhm.
I'm influencing for good to help other
Yeah.
people, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we're both rooted in many of our membership folks in our membership and our followers. So thank you,
Exactly.
Allie, for that. So my other question around social media is how do you set boundaries and do you have systems because you have so many people who are following you, which I'm sure means you have a lot of people who are reaching out to you, right? They're DMing you, they're commenting, and again, to me, that personally has overwhelmed me in the past and I've like shut down. And so how do you manage that?
Yeah, so it's really difficult because like I don't really get negative comments. Like it's really nice. I'm very lucky in that sense. I think it's because our community is so kind, but I'll get like one. And one of the comments that somebody said on my TikTok was she never replies to comments. Like, what's the point? And I feel so bad, but like, and I want to, reply to everybody. And sometimes I go through a phase where I do, but I try to keep up with my DMs the most. I may not reply to every comment, but I do try to keep up with my DMs and I go through phases because if I were to do it every day, I think I'd get burnout, I'd get exhausted, and
Mhm.
also it wouldn't be very meaningful. So I try not to do it every day to create those boundaries. But I do end up going into my DMs and replying to everybody just because it brings me joy and I love connecting with everybody. But I do have a boundary where I don't do it every day. I don't just sit on my phone and scroll every day. I try to only be on my phone for 2 hours a day. And it's very difficult. I have to get things like the Opal app, to like block me so that I'm not on my phone all the time. But the hardest thing for me is that like I feel guilty that I don't reply to every single comment because I want to. And it's just, I sound like kind of crazy but like I know I'm very lucky to have like all these comments and it brings me so much joy. And I do read every single comment. I don't think people realize that. Like I read every single comment. I just can't reply to all of them.
Mhm.
But what I try to do is I try to see what people are saying and I'll make a reel about it. So like I may not be able to reply to you in a DM or a comment, but I'll try to make a reel regarding that topic. So maybe that answers your question. But yeah, having those boundaries is really tricky and I feel really bad because I like become friends with everybody. I'm not a, I need to like, I'll voice note. My thing is to voice note. So if you DM me, expect a voice note coming back because my little arthritis fingers cannot type away like that. But, but yeah, no, it brings me so much joy that I have this problem. Like, what a really nice problem to have. Like, all these people are commenting and it's just so beautiful. And I'm just so grateful that I have like all these people, all these friends. Cause I look at
Yeah.
everybody like a friend.
You are so first of all, team voice note, big on voice notes. I love
Yeah.
them so much. I send them
Hmm.
all the time. They're my
Yep.
preference. I hate texting,
I
just in my
hate it.
personal life. I'm a horrible texter. People will tell you I don't respond and I'm trying to work on it, or like
Same.
I take a long time to respond. And then I also love a voice note, and it is very personal. And I just want to kind of give some advice to you on the spot, or just some thoughts to you on the
Love it.
spot, because I think a lot of people are in this position, and I have to remind myself of this a lot. Do your best to let go of the guilt, because
Hmm.
what you are doing when you say no to responding to every single one of those comments and DMs, you're preserving your energy so that you can go on and make that reel that speaks to all those comments. Instead of responding to everyone, okay, I'm going to take that energy and I'm going to put this reel out there that's going to reach even more people and help, even rather than just the one person. And this is that whole concept of we cannot say yes to everything. I feel guilty a lot when people reach out to me and I have to say no, or I'm not able to do this right now, because I want to help everyone. But we do have these bigger, larger business goals, or goals to serve more people. And if you're responding to every single person or saying yes to every single thing, you're never going to be able to get there.
Hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so it's
The
hard.
guilt. Yeah.
We need to remind ourselves of that, to pull ourselves out of that guilt spiral.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Yeah.
like we want to reply. We do. Like and again,
Yeah.
this is a lovely problem to have. Like so
Yes.
beautiful that like there's so many comments I can't reply. Like that's so very kind. And I'm very just my heart is full because of it. But yes, like having to have just to say no. Like and I say no like to businesses or like to like accounts and I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. Or like podcasts, I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. Like I feel so bad. But like we have to have those boundaries because maybe we will burn out. We
We
will
will
burn
burn out.
out.
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this is a good transition too, because you don't want to burn out, but you're over here doing all the things, right? You really do wear a lot of hats. Like we said, content creator, trainer, writer, speaker, app developer, and you also have a personal life too. Nomad, partner, daughter, all of those things. So how do you manage all of that? And also, how has this entrepreneurial journey of yours unfolded? Because you've got your hands in a lot of different places.
Yeah, yeah. And also my partner and I have a production company together. So
Oh
it's
my
a
goodness, I
lot.
missed
Yeah.
that.
No, but it's a lot and it's hard. And I call it just like freelance work. But how I got into it is when I was working at the gym 2.5 years ago now. I didn't have time to do anything else because when you're a trainer, you get up at 4 a.m. and you start training at 5 a.m. and then you stop at 6 p.m. So you don't have time for anything else. When I left that lifestyle, I made the decision to become like a freelancer and it is hard. It is tricky, especially because when you wear so many hats, a part of me feels like I can't put 100% into everything because I'm doing so many different things. So, like Lily said, like I'm a trainer, I'm a writer, I'm a speaker. I have the content creation. I do content creation for other companies. My partner and I have a production company where we make content for other businesses and we go out and film and edit for them. So it's really tricky and it's it's hard because whenever you have like a full-time job, you're like, oh, okay, like I hate this. I hate this, but there's always pros and cons to everything. But like I would love to be, have a full-time job and have that constant income, but I also love the chaos of freelancing.
Mm.
So it's very exciting to me and I have that ADHD brain that like loves to do one thing and then go to the next and then go to the next. So like having a whole bunch of hats keeps me going and I love being busy and excited that way. And also when I feel like I can't put 100% into everything, I just try to break it down and I end up putting 100% into every single thing that I do because that's just who I am. And, again, boundaries, I need them, but don't have them at the moment. But yeah, so it's really tricky. I love being a freelancer, but it's also scary at the same time. But I kind of think I love the thrill. So, but yeah, when I left my I would say 9 to 5, but really it was like a 4 a.m. to 6. When I left my 4 a.m. to 6, I was like, I'm going to do everything that I can. And if that means like wearing a whole bunch of hats, then I'm going to do it because I think I thrive in the chaos.
Okay, I love that. Now, I've got a couple questions. from the business side on how you manage all of this
Hmm.
and also how you deal with, well, all right, I'm going to start with, I've got a few thoughts. Let's start with how you manage it with your ADHD brain and all of these things going on. What are your top tips for staying organized as a freelancer working on a lot of different projects?
Yeah. So even though I do have this like ADHD brain, I am very amazing at organizing. I will give myself the hat for that because I love organizing. I love it. I love planners. I love the reminders on my phone. Like I love, love, love it. So to stay organized and to manage all of these different hats, I really do it. This might sound crazy, but I work as I feel. So when I get up in the morning, I love content creation because I love to do my first sips that I do on my Instagram. And that's when I do my content creation because I feel good doing that. And then at lunchtime, I'll do my training because that's when I have the most energy is in the middle of the day. So I'll do my training and I'll make content for my app. And then towards the end of the day is when I start to go downhill, which is when my partner Travis and I, since we have a production company together, then I'll probably start working with him because he can pick up the slack where I'm going down. but so yeah, I really do it based on how I feel. And I'm really fortunate to not have a job where I have to like log in, and be somewhere and answer the phone because I used to work in the film industry and I was glued to my computer and phone and it was awful because I had to answer calls all day. So when you're freelancing, it's a lot easier, but also it can be hard to navigate your time because again, you don't have a 9 to 5 to log in and be there and then log off. Like it's kind of like you're all day living it. But basically just how I feel is how I manage it. If that makes sense. Like if you're
Oh my
feeling
God, it
good.
does.
Yeah.
Yes, and what you described is a big tip that we end up giving a lot within the Chronic Boss Collective when we're masterminding or we're helping women talk through their business plans. Is that you need to time block in your day, and
Hmm.
so you listen to your body. You do a great job with this, Ali, saying, "Oh my God, I've got energy in the morning. I want to be content creating. That's when I'm going to do my content, and then I've got energy at lunch, the most energy, and that's where I need to be active. So I'm going to do fitness, and then." Like you said, end of the day is production where you have a little bit less energy there. And blocking those things together, we're avoiding context switching, right? So
Yeah.
if you're bouncing, and I have to do this too, and sometimes I don't do a great job with it because I'm managing my two businesses. I'll jump from patient authentic to chronic boss, but that's not a good use of time because now I'm losing time with my brain context switching on what I'm doing. It's best to block your time. So you're doing
Yeah.
that. That is like one of the best things that anyone can do when trying to
Oh,
manage
that's
their
good to hear.
business. Yeah,
I'm
it is like
glad.
one of my favorite tips to give. So you've got it and listening to your body. So okay, another big question that we hear all the time from our members and our community around freelancing and being an entrepreneur when you're living with a chronic condition is of course the stress around trying to deal with health insurance
Oh my
because
God.
in the
Yeah.
United States your
Hmm.
health insurance is often tied to your career, right? And so how do you navigate health insurance as a freelancer?
Oh my, I could go on for days about this. I actually just made a reel this morning about it
Oh,
that
no
I'm going to
way.
post later. Yeah. Asking for advice. So basically, when I left my film job, I was really fortunate that I lived in the state of Georgia and I was able to go on my partner's health insurance because we're domestic partners. We've been together forever. We've been together for 11 years. So I was able to go on his insurance, which was great. However, we did that for a couple of years, many years. I left my job in 2021. I've been on his insurance, but this year our insurance was $1,000 a month for both of us. And it's like a second rent. And we left Atlanta to save some money to become nomads because we've been living with parents for 2.5 years and then paying health insurance of $1,000 a month. We were like, no. So I ended up going off of his health insurance and he got the cheapest health insurance. The man is very healthy, knock on wood. We'd love to see it. But
Yep.
he got the cheap insurance that's like 150 a month. And so then I went on Medicaid, which we could go, this country, let me tell you what. So I luckily I went through all of the appointments because I have this undiagnosed illness and we can't get to the bottom of it. But I saw every single specialist in the past 2.5 years before I went on Medicaid. If I did this on Medicaid, there's no way it would have happened. So I got that done on his health insurance, but so freelancing, I have to go on Medicaid. And I know a lot of people who freelance either are uninsured or do the Medicaid business. And let me tell you what, it's hard And many doctors don't take Medicaid, and getting my medication is very difficult, and it's just a constant battle. And luckily, I'm in like a medicated remission. But now that I'm becoming a nomad and I'm going to be traveling, I may have to go off my medications. And so the next couple of months are going to look crazy. And I just think that healthcare is a right that we should all have. And it shouldn't be like this, and that we shouldn't be on Medicaid or uninsured. Like, I would say I'm grateful for Medicaid, but I'm not. We need something better. We need something better. Like, like I can only get my medications in the state of New York. I'm about to travel to the US. Like, I went to the CVS pharmacy in North Carolina. They were holding my medication in their hand and they're like, we cannot give this to you. And I was like, this is literally insane. Like, you're holding it. My doctor prescribed it. Can I please just have it? Like, and they're like, yeah, that will be $20,000. Like, there needs to be something better. Like, it's the freelancers, unless you have a full-time job. And that's why I stayed with my job in film, was because of health insurance. I suffered depression, the lowest I've ever been in my entire life, because of health insurance. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not easy. Like, if you're listening to this and you're like, I want to quit my job and be a freelancer, if you're chronically ill, I'm not going to lie. It's not easy. And this country needs to do better.
Amen. It is not easy. It is, again, it's one of the top questions that comes up, because we have a lot of folks who are at a full-time job and they have a side hustle and they're trying to make that transition. But health insurance is a key. It stops them from moving ahead. And so thank you for sharing that and for being honest, because we can't sugarcoat it, because it's challenging to navigate.
And I want to fight it. Like, I want to go to DC and I'll have the signs and everything. And like, we deserve healthcare. Like, this is crazy. It's crazy.
You're going to take remind me what it's called. Your new what you're nomading in.
Oh, my Airstream.
Airstream. Yeah. Let's talk about this. So let's talk about this, because literally last night, so you gave a tour on your Instagram of your Airstream, and you're over here talking about like, I'm looking and I'm having anxiety, because I'm like, oh my God, how is she fitting everything into this Airstream? And you're just like, we're going to have to be minimalist. And I'm over here, meanwhile, walking into my wedding dress appointment, like, the word is maximalism.
Maximalism. I know.
This is like how I live my life. And so I so admire, I want to be a minimalist, but I'm really bad at it. And so tell me all about this. How did you make the decision to live in the Airstream and be a nomad? And literally, how are you doing it with your chronic conditions? How are you making all this happen?
Yeah. So 5 years ago, we made the decision to become nomads, and we were going to do van life, because, van life is so popular. Everybody, you see it all online. And so during COVID, of course, like all of us who got furloughed from our jobs, Travis and I were like, we want to travel. We want to get the F out of this apartment. And we just want to like hit the road, because I grew up traveling. Like I said, I grew up in Saudi Arabia. I was constantly on a flight going back and forth. I was always traveling. When I left university, I was like, I'm going to move abroad. Like, I'm just going to travel. But then I ended up in Atlanta for 7 years, and Travis and I woke up and we were like, what happened? 7 years? Like, no. So 5 years ago, we made this decision. So 5 years ago is when we started prepping. Like, I even have video of us going through, I was a maximalist, like, absolutely. I had so much stuff. I still do. And so we lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. It was really large. This was in Atlanta. And 5 years ago, I swear to you, over 5 years ago, we went through everything. We pulled everything out of the cabinets, and we either sold or donated and just got rid of everything. And we downsized into a 1-bedroom. So then we went to the 1-bedroom and we were like, we're going to leave. We had like a 5-month lease or something. We're like, we're going to leave. I ended up working in a gym and I got ill. Like, I got this illness that we're trying to diagnose, my chest pain. And so I got pretty bad during that time. So we ended up postponing it, because I was getting infusions. I was in and out of the ER, and all this, mind you, while being a trainer at a gym. So, so I did that for 2 years. And finally, I was getting better. I was like, okay, I can do this. I went off the infusions. I was on an injection, and I was like, we're going to do this. So we decided to just sell all of our furniture and leave the apartment and leave Atlanta. And so we moved in with our parents, because we wanted to save some money and also figure out how we're going to be nomads. We ended up hopping into Subaru, traveling the whole entire US to see if we liked that lifestyle. And we fell in love with it. We're like, yes, but we just weren't ready yet to make the push, because again, I was in and out of doctor's appointments. I was trying to figure out my chest pain, and Yeah. So it's crazy how everything lines up and works out because now we did look at homes because I was so ill. I was like, maybe I can't do this. So we did look at homes and we didn't like it. We put bids. Well, we did like some homes in the Catskills, which is in the mountains of New York. And we put bids on 5 homes and we got outbid in cash by all of these people from like these rich people from Brooklyn who wanted to Airbnb these homes. Okay.
Yeah,
So
it's insane. I don't know who can buy a home right now. It's
I
crazy.
don't understand. You can't. Like you just
No.
unless you want to put we literally put 75,000 over asking and we got outbid, okay? And it was a
Oh my
600
God.
square foot home. It was a 600 square foot home.
Oh my
75,000
God.
over. Yes, and we got outbid by cash.
Bananas.
Yeah. So we put on, this is crazy, but we put a bid on a house back in July. And okay, it's September 2nd right now. We put in a bid back in July and I looked at Travis and I said, if we do not get this house today, like this week, we're getting an Airstream. And he was like, you know what? I agree. And I was like, I don't care. We're getting a van or an Airstream. We are no longer doing this. We're going to be nomads no matter what. We didn't get the bid that night. We booked an appointment to go see an Airstream. That week, we bought the Airstream.
I love it. I love it. This is Allie. I always think of you as the woman who lives vibrantly. You're doing it all. You're doing it all. Okay. So now you have this Airstream. You've made the decision. You're traveling. I mean, what about your health? So are
Yeah.
you concerned about your chronic conditions? What is this going to look like?
Oh yeah, I'm very concerned, but again, like you said, I like to live kind of crazy, and I go day by. I've noticed you just have to live day by day when it comes to
Yeah.
being chronically ill, because one day you're good, one day you're not. So I'm definitely it's gonna be a learning curve, and I'm actually so excited. I love change. Okay, so I'm about to be a nomad. Of course, I love change. I love change. I hate to be staying put somewhere. And I love the chaos and how hard it's going to be. I just love a challenge. It keeps us young. I love it. But this is going to be a challenge. Being chronically ill on the road, 100% going to be a challenge. Getting my injections and the fact that through Medicaid, I can only get my medication in the state of New York. And we're about to leave to go to Maine next week. So it's going to be challenging. I'm actually posting a reel later today asking for advice, but I'm going to book a call with my rheumatologist. I'm going to let her know, listen, I am not letting my RA stop me from my dream of 5 years. Like I've been wanting to do this for 5 years. Actually, my whole life I've been wanting to travel. So I actually haven't been abroad since my health has declined. I haven't been abroad. I'm going to Italy next February. So I'm not going to let my chronic illness stop me. But again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to be real with you. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. I get a lot of people online asking me, how are you going to manage it? I don't know. It's going to be an everyday situation. Like my pills, I'm able to have CVS deliver it to my partner's parents' home and they can hopefully overnight it to me at a campground. That's what I'm going for. As for injections, it's up in the air. I don't know. It's going to be a learning curve for me.
A learning curve. I know because
Yeah.
I saw you open that fridge, that little refrigerator that you had, and I said, her biologic's going to take up all the space in there.
Literally. Yeah. It's gonna, I don't know. But
You don't know.
luckily the fridge works all the time because of the batteries. So it's always running. So I have biologics. I can probably get myself the next 3 months. And then after that, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to have you back so that we can find out. Tell me, when you were doing the trip in the Subaru, what was the top tip that you learned for both your business, like when you were freelancing, and then for your chronic condition? What were the 2 biggest things that you learned that you would recommend to others who, if they're a traveling entrepreneur with a chronic condition?
Oh, yeah. So I want to tell the listeners and the viewers that you can travel when you have a chronic illness. If you have Medicaid, it's going to be harder. But if you have insurance, yes, you can travel. It's, again, if you're American, I'm so sorry. But for me, it was really silly, actually, when I did the Subaru trip. So we were gone for 3 months. The first half of it, I used an ice box for when we drove, and I put my injections in an ice box. And every 4 hours we would pull over and I would get ice at a gas station or a grocery store, and I would refill the little lunchbox I had. It was designated for my injections. So every 4 hours I would change out the ice. And I have video of me like in the parking lot, dumping the old water, putting in the new ice cubes. Like I looked a hot mess. So what I highly, highly recommend is to get yourself a portable ice chest that plugs into your car, and it's like a portable refrigerator. My friend bought it for me on our trip when we went to see him in California. So it plugs into your car and it runs while your car is running. Get that if you have injections. Please don't suffer the way I suffer.
Okay, brilliant. That's a great tip. Amazing tip. Okay, and then how are you continuing on with business? I mean, I guess a lot of yours is it's remote anyway, so you were
Yep.
okay. Was there any hack that you found that worked really well for you while traveling?
Well, I made it fun. So for my, so like I said, I work how I feel. So I ended up filming a lot more because it was just so fun. Like everywhere we were, I was like, I'm going to film my injection out here in the desert. Like I'm going to film my workout out here on the road. Like I did the most random things. I did pause, fuck it, let's slay. But now that I'm going to be a nomad, I'm going to film these workouts like in campgrounds, on the in the parking lots, like in super random areas. And so it was very inspiring. Like wherever I was at, I would get motivated to do something and I would feel more creative because I was in such random spots to make reels and I would have to make reels for companies. And I was like, do you care that like I'm in a desert? Do you care that like I'm in some random Airbnb? I don't know. But I was at a getaway and I had to make a reel for a company. And I was like, I'm in a cabin. Is that okay? Like it made me more creative and inspired
Yeah.
me to get creative. And that's why I say if you're doing content creation and you're just like nervous that you need the perfect spot, the perfect lighting to do anything, no, you don't. You just got to post it. Like you just got to, it can get really annoying. Like I was at a hotel and I had to make a reel for a company and the AC was just so loud.
Ugh.
So you're going to have, yeah, like the audio. Oh, I hate sound. Coming from the film background, I hate sound. Lighting is fine. Sound, I hate. But you're going to have these moments that it's going to be really difficult and challenging. And this doesn't just go for content creating. This goes for people working, no matter what your job is. Like it's going to be challenging. Traveling is not easy. There's always, it's a whole, the grass is greener on the other side. Traveling is really difficult, especially with chronic illness and especially when you're a freelancer and running your own business. So I just called the guy at the hotel and I was like, can you please come turn this AC off? Like it was, yeah. So it's going to be a learning curve, but the benefit outweighs it. So I highly recommend traveling if you can, even if it's for a weekend. Like if you have a 9 to 5 in person, go somewhere for the weekend and just do it. Like just get out there and do it. It's going to be a challenge, but it's going to inspire you and hopefully make you feel more creative to make content. But so again, I'm not sugarcoating it. It was hard, but it was also fun too. And worth it.
I love that. And Allie, I think something that I feel like your hack when I'm hearing everything that you're saying is your attitude. You have an amazing attitude about
Thank
everything.
you.
It's kind of like, okay, I'm going to lean into this. I'm going to make it work. We're going to figure it out. And I have to imagine that some of that probably comes from living with a chronic condition and everything that you've learned and having to sort of roll with the punches, right?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very good point. Yeah, because we always, when we're chronically ill, are rolling with the punches and we just kind of like have to exist with it. So, yeah, having like issues like that, I don't really get stressed out much anymore and I kind of make it fun. I mean, of course, I'm going to get stressed randomly, but like we tried backing an Airstream the first night we had it and I was like, this is so hard. And I was stressed out, but I'm like, no, but we just got to roll with the freaking punches, like how we do when we're chronically ill.
Yes, absolutely. And that actually leads me to my next little segment here. I want to talk with you a little bit about what your secret sauce is. And I don't know if this is something you've seen Chronic Boss do, but it's something we do with our guests on the podcast. So we've created at Chronic Boss your secret sauce. And the idea is that you're taking your skill, so something that you're really skilled at. So for you, that could be content creation, it could be production, whatever you want. And then you match that with your superpower. So that's something that you've gained from living with your chronic conditions. That could be a unique perspective or, just a gift, whatever you've learned from living with a chronic condition. And then you put those together and that's your secret sauce that you bring to life, to work, because we're trying to reframe this narrative, right? That living with a chronic condition inherently is slowing you down at work or making you not as good at your job. That's not true. Actually, it's the exact opposite. We're owning the narrative and we're flipping the script to say, no, actually, my chronic condition makes me even better at my job.
Facts.
Yes.
Facts.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Love that.
So let's do it. Let's figure out yours. So tell me, what do you think? You've got a lot of skills, but give me your top skill.
Oh, my top skill is to make anything into dark comedy. Okay. Like I think my skill is I love making people laugh. And so something that really helps keep me like I'm not like positive. I'm not saying like toxic positivity, but I'm like turning any situation into a positive is to make it funny and to also make fun of myself. I don't know. I think that's my secret sauce is like I make fun of myself or any situation I'm in. Like if I can't walk because of my arthritis, I know that sounds really morbid, but like I'll just like be like, listen, I need a cane at the age of 32. Okay, like I try to make it funny, and it's a coping mechanism, and it really helps me. And I don't repress my emotions. Like I highly encourage you to cry and like scream, but then afterwards I will make fun of myself. So I think in any situation I have, that is my secret and like skill.
I like that. Okay. All right. So that's your skill.
It's my
What do you
skill.
feel like what do you feel like so okay, we're going to call that content that makes people laugh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your superpower? What unique gift or perspective has living with a chronic condition given you?
Ooh. Ooh. What has it given me? I mean, probably what everybody has is that it makes you tough. And I hate to say that
Mhm.
'cause people don't love that, like how it makes them tough, but it does make you tough. Like when you're just in so much pain that you're just like, whenever I get pain, I'm like, I can deal with this. This is nothing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
unfortunately, it made me kind of a badass. Like, it made me tough as fuck.
I love that. Okay. All right. So your skill is content creation that makes people laugh. Your superpower is that your chronic conditions have made you really badass and have
And
made
it
you
made
tough.
me
They made you
badass. Yeah.
resilient, right?
Yeah.
They made you
That's the word.
resilient.
Mm-hmm.
So then let's put those two together. What do you think your secret sauce is?
I, I make people laugh, but I'm in pain and I'm tough as fuck. Like, I don't know. Content creation that makes people laugh from a badass.
Yeah. I love it. I love and you know what else I'll say if I were to put those two together, I would
Please. Yeah.
say you're able to even on your toughest days, right? You push through. You are resilient and you're able to still produce content that makes people laugh. And you even said this, you make challenging situations into funny ones, right?
Yes.
You
It
have this
helps.
perspective. It helps. And so your secret sauce is that you can push through even when it's tough to come out the other side and make people laugh. And it
Oh,
makes you this really like special content creator. And so
thank you.
yeah, it's true. It's true. And so and you're coming from this, like we talked about, you come from this place of authenticity. I mean, there are so many things. I feel like you have so many secret sauces that we could pull in because you're doing a lot, as we discussed, but you're also directly speaking to your audience is folks who are living with chronic conditions. So you have that lived experience, which makes a big impact. So that's just something we like to do. We also have the ability for people, if you want to figure out your secret sauce, you can download it on our Chronic Boss website. It helps you learn how to take a skill and your superpower to turn it into your secret sauce so that you can talk about that in the workplace or as an entrepreneur to help you get through. So that's one of our signature little games that we like to
I
play.
love that. Secret sauce. Oh, it's so spicy. Mine's spicy.
So
I love
spicy.
it.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to get a little spicy
Oh,
because we
yes.
like to be unfiltered on this podcast. And you are unfiltered, Allie, something,
Yep.
as I've shared, I really love about you. And another thing that we like to do on this podcast, so we're talking career, we're talking chronic conditions, but it's really also important that we are illuminating some of the challenges around women's health because we are a group of women and all of these women health issues impact how we show up on a day-to-day basis, whether that be in life or career or, as a partner, what have you. And so, Allie, you have been very, very honest and open about sex, intimacy, and all that jazz while living with a chronic
Mhm.
condition. In fact, you are even an ambassador for a vibrator company. Is that
That's
right?
right.
I
Yes,
love it.
I am. I
I
love it too.
love
I'm
it.
bringing all of them with me in the Airstream as well. I have
I
all
don't know where
10.
you're gonna put them, but
Oh,
are
they're
they
in
gonna
there
be on the
already.
floor?
I found a place.
You found a place. They're in there already. All right, you're
Yep.
good to go.
Yep.
So, okay, so let's talk about this. How did you decide to open up about sex and intimacy on a very, very public platform with a lot of freaking followers?
Yeah, yeah. So actually, like I said, I'm an open book. I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up in a sex negative country like Saudi Arabia. I think that's why I'm so open and just such a feminist and I love Saudi. I love where I grew up, but it's very sex negative there. Obviously, you have to hide your skin. Okay, so
Mhm.
I think that has to do with it. But also I went to boarding school and I went to film school. I'm very open. Okay. There's literally nothing we can talk about that I will not discuss. I literally had pelvic floor therapy for an audience. audience. Like I went to the physical therapist, had pelvic floor therapy while they taught others. So my legs were spread open for an audience. So and I encouraged it. I was like, come on in. He was like, can I bring my wife? She's a physical therapist. I'm like, bring her. Let's go. Let's discuss. So yeah, I love talking about it. But when it comes to sex and chronic illness, I think the discussion started when I became an ambassador for sex toys. So for adult toys is when I became the ambassador because again, I'll talk about anything. My partner was not too jazzed about the idea of me being an ambassador for a sex toy company. Shout out to Balessa. I love them. And so it was a conversation with him and I, and he was like, why do you want to do this? And I'm like, I want to empower women to feel good. And also not just women, but chronically ill women, because this topic came up the minute they asked me if I wanted to be an ambassador, and this hard conversation with my partner, because I mean, not everybody is as comfortable as I am, okay, talking online. Right. And my partner is not that person. He is very like introvert. He makes beautiful videos. His Instagram is so cute. Travis traveling. But again, like he is not as open as I am. So we had that difficult conversation. And by difficult, I mean me like shouting at him, but like, but I was like, I want to empower women to feel good. And I want them to have a positive sex motivation to get their sex drive back, because being chronically ill, like when I was working my 4 a.m. to like 6 p.m. and when I worked in the film industry, it was like 5 a.m. to midnight. I had no sex drive. And I was also really like ill from my chronic illness. And I had zero sex drive, which is why I love talking about it, because I found it again. I found my sex drive. And so I was like, you know what? If I went through this, like this dry spell, I'm sure many women and men probably too, I'm sure many of us spoonies are going through it as well. So I was like, you know what? When Dave reached out to me to be ambassador, I was like, yeah, because this is a very important conversation to have, because Travis and I were having it and it was a hard conversation to have. So I was like, you know what? I'm sure other spoonies want to have this conversation with their partner too, because I went through a dry spell. I've shouted this. People know, like when I worked crazy hours and I never had sex, I was too tired and I was also in too much pain. But when I found my sex drive again, I was like, what are we doing? We need to be having more sex. Like it's going to help our arthritis. Scientists have studies that it helps our arthritis. It's just the act of getting into it. It's kind of like working out. Like you're always happy when it's over, but you never want to do it in the beginning. And you may, if you're not chronically ill, you may think like, oh, you don't want to have sex. What's wrong with you? No, it's because we're in so much pain. The act of doing it is like, it's like a job. Like, it's like, we don't want to do it. So that's why I became an ambassador for them, because I was like, get a sex toy, like find your sex empowerment. Okay. Like you need that. And I could go on for days. You guys can hear how excited I am, but honestly, like when I found out that like this is a hard topic to have, I was like, I need to shout it from the rooftops. Like we need to discuss sex and chronic illness, because it's not talked about at doctors. We don't talk about this with our doctors. No. Nobody told me when I was to go on a drug called methotrexate that I would probably lose my sex drive. The doctor never mentioned that, but I did, because it like really F's your body. And so so that's why I'm like so passionate about this and women's health. It is health. Okay. It is important. We need to be having sex. I mean, we need to be having more sex, and we need to be using our sex toys and finding our sex drive, because chronic illness likes to steal that from us. So sorry, I could go on for days.
No, I love the passion, Allie. I love the passion.
Yes.
And this is why we're talking about this. We're trying to bring to light some of these topics around women's health, because there's so much connection between chronic conditions and specifically women's health issues, yeast infections, bacterial vaginosis, pelvic floor dysfunction, right? And that's something that it sounds like you've dealt with and you've actually addressed. And so I know that there are a lot of folks who need pelvic floor therapy. Maybe they haven't made that jump. So tell me a little bit about that, your decision to do that. Do you recommend others do it? Tell me all about it.
Yeah. So my decision to do was I actually ended up in the ER with these they were like cramps. They were like period cramps. And it felt like I had appendicitis again, but I had my appendix taken out. So I was in the ER and we don't know what it was. They think maybe a cyst ruptured, but sometimes they can't see that on the test. So I think I had a cyst rupture. So after that, I told my physical therapist, I was going for my back, had nothing to do with pelvic floor, but I told my therapist, hey, I was in the ER yesterday. And he was like, what? So he said, we have a pelvic floor therapist here. Maybe I can ask her I could tell her what happened to you in the ER, and then maybe we can she can see you. And so because of insurance, because of our lovely insurance, he was like, hey, if you want to see her, she's willing to do it for free as long as it's like for educational purposes. Like I would be there and my wife would be there and some other people would be there to learn. And I was like, please. And he was so like professional about it. He was like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, it's only if you're comfortable, but she would do it for free for you. And I was like, absolutely. Like I'm an open book. Literally, I will open my legs for you guys. So I so I went and it was so cute. So like she did the whole thing. I opened my legs. She started teaching them and she was teaching me. And I was telling her like in front of all these people, I was like, hey, I also have pain with like penetration as well. Is that like a problem? And she was like, yes, that is a problem and we can work on that. So I ended up working with her and I told her about the pain with penetration. And I'm sure many of us with chronic illnesses who avoid sex for the longest time, when you get back into it, you're probably going to feel pain. I mean, we're all different, but it's really important if you have pain with that, even if you have pain with going to the bathroom, like having number twos, like if you have pain with that, that could be pelvic floor. There's so many things that the pelvic floor, does, and it's still relatively new. So I highly encourage you to go get a consultation with somebody, a pelvic floor therapist, if you're having any issues, especially for mamas out there who have had babies, and but there's so many reasons to go to a pelvic floor therapist. But if you've been thinking about it, definitely just go have that consultation. You don't have to spread your legs on the first appointment. You could just have the consultation first and talk about it. So for me, it was pain with penetration. It was also why I was randomly in the ER that one time. So I worked with a pelvic floor therapist and it really, really helped. And I no longer have pain with penetration. So it's lovely. And I highly, highly encourage it.
Ali, as always, I just love your authenticity and your candor. I can't stop saying it because it helps so many people. And especially in topics like this, where there's not a lot of it happening. There's not a lot of people having these conversations.
Mhm.
And so you being willing to be honest and open and authentic about these really real, raw, private experiences,
Yeah.
you are giving such a gift to the community. So thank you for your openness. You are just amazing. I like can't believe how many topics we've covered today. We hit your RA journey, being an entrepreneur who wears all the hats. We hit women's health. We hit being a nomad. We like touched everything. And that's because you are such a vibrant person with so many different facets. And I think that's really beautiful. And that's
Thank
what I
you.
love about Chronic Boss. We're here to talk about all of the different parts of a person, not just the chronic condition. It's where we're thriving, where we're achieving, where we're seeing success. That's what this is all about, and highlighting that. And you are such a perfect example of that.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
Ali, I'm going to wrap us up here. And of course, the last question I have to ask you is, what does being a chronic boss mean to you?
Oh, baby, being a chronic boss. Honestly, it just feels so empowering to be a chronic boss. Honestly, it just makes you feel like such an epic badass. Like, look at us chronic boss babes. It just makes me feel in just so badass and it's empowering. Like to see you and to see all of these other chronic boss babies, like it just warms my heart and makes me feel badass. Like we're all badass. And I love that we all want to support one another. Like that's another thing, like I love the community you have because you just want to be like, yeah, like every time I see people winning, I'm always over here like, yes, bitch. Yes. Like I love seeing these chronic bosses, like taking your chronic illness and also just like making it so epically badass. Sorry, just badass, badass. That's
No,
how I
I love
feel.
it. Well, that too. And
Badass.
it's like, okay, let's say
Yeah.
badass. That's Ali.
Yeah, yeah, that's how I feel with this chronic boss community. Like I love seeing people win. Like I just love it, and I love cheering people on.
Well, we love cheering you on. So
Oh,
thank
thank
you,
you.
Ali, for giving us your time today and spending this time with us, because you are just full of wisdom and insights. And it's always such a joy for me to be able to talk to you.
Same, likewise, and thank you for having me on. I'm so excited for your show. I'm so excited. Everybody, listen, subscribe, like, share. I'm so excited for you.
Thank you, Ali. And until next time, we'll see you then.